Hey there, welcome everybody to a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. This is our 2025 year in review special. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined tonight by the Phenom Michael Bullock. Unfortunately, due to illness, good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be joining us this evening. He's under the weather, so we want to wish MF a very speedy recovery, and we hope to have him back with us tomorrow night for our TXN Sports World Year in Review special. 2025 in the world of professional wrestling. Saw a lot of things, a lot of big things. There were a lot of high points. There were a lot of low points. It all started in the month of January when we had the Queen, Charlotte Flair, make history by becoming, in the month of January, yes. It started in the world of TNA Genesis, where Joe Hendry, after getting screwed out of the TNA Heavyweight Championship at Slammiversary 2024 and Bound for Glory 2024, at Genesis 2025, Joe Hendry made history. Joe Hendry finally achieved his dream and became the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And he would hold that title for a good 4 months. And, of course, also NXT had New Year's Evil, where we saw two new champions crowned. Julia became the new NXT Women's Champion, and Oba Femi became the new NXT Champion. Landscape changed in the world of NXT. And then in the month of February, we kicked off February with a bang, as the Queen Charlotte Flair made history by becoming the first ever two-time winner of the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. And then in an absolute stunner that none of us saw coming, main event Jey Uso won the Men's Royal Rumble match, eliminating John Cena to win that prestigious event at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And then in the month of March, we saw something that we never thought we would ever see. John Cena doing the unthinkable. For the first time in over 20 years, John Cena turned heel. And that is not a typo. That literally did happen. At the Elimination Chamber at the Sky Dome in Toronto, he low-blowed Cody Rhodes, and alongside of The Rock and Travis Scott, beat the holy hell out of Cody Rhodes, setting up their WrestleMania program. And then it was at WrestleMania where we saw main event Jey Uso become the World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Gunther in the very first match of WrestleMania, either night. And then we also saw Jacob Fatu become the United States Heavyweight Champion. And we also saw a main event for the ages when it was Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins winning that. Paul Heyman turning on both CM Punk and Roman Reigns and aligning with Seth freaking Rollins, leading to the formation of the Vision. And then, of course, also at WrestleMania, we also witnessed the crowning. We also saw an incredible triple threat match on the women's side. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair. They stole the damn show. We also saw Dominic Mysterio become the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. And we also saw the crowning of new World Tag Team Champions. The New Day became World Tag Team Champions, defeating the Viking Raiders or the War Raiders. And then Becky Lynch made a surprise return. And alongside Lyra Valkyria, they won the Women's Tag Team Championship. And then John Cena cemented the heel turn by becoming the Never Seen 17, becoming a 17-time World Heavyweight Champion, setting a new record, surpassing a record nobody ever thought would be broken, that of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We got to see one final time John Cena and Randy Orton, one of the greatest rivalries in WWE history, with the roles reversed. John Cena the heel, Randy Orton the babyface in Orton's hometown of St. Louis for Backlash. And of course, we also saw the renewal of another great rivalry, John Cena and CM Punk in Saudi Arabia at the Night of Champions for the WWE Championship. The roles reversed, of course. Punk with that rap, channeling his inner doctor of thugonomics on John Cena. And then, of course, we also witnessed in Saudi Arabia the crowning of the king and queen of the ring, as it was Jade Cargill becoming the queen of the ring and Cody Rhodes becoming the king of the ring. By virtue of those wins, those two individuals would go on to SummerSlam for championship gold. In the world of NXT, we saw a partnership between NXT and TNA, where we would see NXT wrestlers win TNA championship gold and TNA wrestlers win NXT championship gold. Most notable being Trick Williams winning the TNA heavyweight championship from Joe Hendry at the Battleground event. A couple of days later on NXT, on the Fallout show, we didn't think it could get any wilder than that, but it did. Jacy Jayne pulling off maybe the biggest upset of the year when she won the NXT Women's Championship from Stephanie Vaquer, who everyone thought was unbeatable. And she had a good run with that title. Fast forward into the summer. And in the summer, we would also see Becky. We also saw. Let's also not forget about the very first Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I mean, there's just so many things that we can't even think straight. There's so many memories that we have to relive and we have to think about. We had the dawning of a new era. Monday Night Raw, after being on USA Network and being on cable television for the entire inception. But they moved it to Netflix, and it was a successful night. Rhea Ripley became the Women's World Champion, defeating Liv Morgan, and then got to celebrate with The Undertaker. How freaking cool was that? I mean, that was a special moment. Roman Reigns got his Ula Fala back, defeating Solo Sikoa, and CM Punk with a victory over Seth Rollins. The notable moments from that very first Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Tiffany Stratton becoming the WWE Women's Champion, cashing in the Money in the Bank on the very first SmackDown of 2025, and held the title almost for the entire year before finally losing it to Jade Cargill on the Saturday night's main event in November. But when it comes to the women's division in professional wrestling, I don't believe anybody had a better year than Stephanie Vaquer did. On that same show, New Year's Evil, she won the Women's North American Championship. And then she unified that title with the NXT Women's Championship in March at Roadblock in the theater in Madison Square Garden, defeating Julia, unifying the titles. The only minor hiccup she had was Jacy Jayne when she lost the NXT Women's title to Jacy Jayne. And then she went on to the main roster, where she became a member of the Monday Night Raw brand, much to my delight. And I mean, so many things we could go on and on about. I mean, but so little time. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that do have to be mentioned. Of course, we can't forget about TNA Slammiversary in New York. Leon Slater becoming the youngest X Division champion in history, defeating Moose, and then having a moment after the match with the phenomenal AJ Styles in a TNA ring for the first time in almost 12 years. Awesome moment there. And I'll never forget Leon Slater jumping up and down like a little kid on Christmas morning. That's how excited he was to see him. There was heartbreak, though. Mike Santana getting robbed of the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Trick Williams escaping with the title. Tailor-made for Mike Santana to win the title there. And speaking of TNA in July, I'll never forget it. July 25th, myself, Michael Bullock, and our dear friend Mike Silvera, we went to the Ryan Center at URI. We took in TNA Impact. It was a TNA Impact taping, and I'm going to tell you, Bullock, Silvera, and myself, we had the time of our lives that night. The month before, the three of us, along with another one of our dear friends, Brian Keenan, we went to a Renegade Wrestling Alliance show, RWA Spectacle, to benefit Rhode Island Special Olympics. And we had the time of our lives on that night as well. But that TNA show at the Ryan Center, that was definitely my personal favorite moment. Nobody was more over than Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was more over than anybody. The Hardys were a solid second, a very close second, and just amazing night that we'll never forget. And then we had the first ever 2-night SummerSlam that had never been done before. Notable moments on that. Of course, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, an unlikely partnership. And this thing ended up being ended up working out way better than anybody ever thought. And it did something we never thought we'd see. It made Charlotte Flair likable. Charlotte Flair, who has garnered so much hate, and she got a lot of hate after she won her second Women's Royal Rumble match in February. Pairing her with Alexa Bliss was an absolute godsend for her because it got her over, maybe the most over she's ever been. I think we can credit that to Alexa Bliss, of course. And they became the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions at SummerSlam. And then let's also not forget, also on that very same night, we also saw CM Punk finally get his crowning moment, became the World Heavyweight Champion with a hard-fought victory over Gunther in the main event of night one. Until Seth freaking Rollins with the roost of the century, where he faked an injury, cashed in Money in the Bank, and became the World Heavyweight Champion. As part of SummerSlam Night 2, we witnessed an insane tables, ladders, and chairs match, just like the one we witnessed in April on a Friday night SmackDown. A match that should have been on WrestleMania, but it wasn't. Why? We'll never know. But we ended up getting an even crazier one, which saw Candice LeRae take the sickest bump you will ever see. And we couldn't believe what happened in that particular bout. And then, of course, the other big notable moment was a match that some people are calling a match of the year candidate. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. John Cena had turned back babyface just 2 nights before on the final SmackDown before SummerSlam. He turned babyface again. I had my doubts. I thought it was going to be another one of his heel ruses, but no. He turned face and he stayed that way. And then went on with Cody Rhodes to have a banger of a match, but it was Cody Rhodes regaining the undisputed WWE Championship. And then the surprise return, despite all of the baggage that this individual has garnered because of his role in the Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant situation. A man we never thought we'd see in the WWE ring ever again. The beast incarnate, the alpha male of our species, Brock Lesnar, making his surprise return to the WWE. And then in the month of September, well, it was the end of an era. WWE decided to no longer stream their premium live events on Peacock, moving it over to a brand new app on ESPN called the ESPN Unlimited app. And they had their first event entitled WrestlePalooza, which featured John Cena and Brock Lesnar one more time. And Brock Lesnar beating the holy hell out of John Cena, just like he did at SummerSlam in 2014. Also on that night, we saw Stephanie Vaquer defeat Io Sky for the vacant Women's World Championship after Naomi had to relinquish the title due to her pregnancy. And it was La Primera defeating the Genius of the Sky in a match that stole the damn show on that night. We also saw the return of another individual that we never thought we'd see, AJ Lee, making her grand return to WWE to team up with her husband, CM Punk, to square off against Seth freaking Rollins and Becky Lynch in the most anticipated mixed tag team match of all time. And it was AJ Lee and CM Punk winning that match. Cody Rhodes also defeated Drew McIntyre to retain the WWE Championship. And then in October, we went to Australia for Crown Jewel, where Stephanie Vaquer became the Women's Crown Jewel champion with a victory over Tiffany Stratton. Seth freaking Rollins won the Men's Crown Jewel championship with a victory over Cody Rhodes. But it was on that night where a match between two of the all-time greats, John Cena and the phenomenal AJ Styles, stole the dang show with a match for the absolute ages. Also a match of the year contender for sure. And then we also had TNA Bound for Glory. And it was on that night where Mike Santana finally realized his dream and became the TNA heavyweight champion, defeating Trick Williams in the main event. And then we also saw Halloween Havoc in NXT, and another thing in NXT we didn't think we would see anytime soon. Oba Femi getting pinned by Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints becoming the new NXT champion. Tatum Paxley made history. She became the NXT Women's Champion on that very show. And then in November, WWE NXT went back to the theater in Madison Square Garden for Gold Rush, a 2-week event where Lei Ying Lee became the new TNA Knockouts champion, the first ever Chinese-born Knockouts champion. Awesome moment for her. We also unfortunately saw Tatum Paxley lose the NXT Women's Championship back to JC Jane, thanks to Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame and the calling turning on Tatum Paxley. And that was a couple of the notable moments from NXT Gold Rush in the theater in the Garden. Survivor Series making history, first time ever, held in the confines of an outdoor stadium. Petco Park in San Diego, California, the home of the San Diego Padres. War Games on the men's and women's side. And let's also not forget, in what was an amazing moment, the two best Monday Night Raws back to back in November. November the 10th at the TD Garden in Boston, where we saw John Cena win the one title that has eluded him in his career. He became the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion with a victory over Dominic Mysterio. What an emotional moment that was. Myself and Michael Bullock, that's a moment we're going to cherish. We had a Raw chat that night, and boy, howdy, did we have fun with that in Boston. And what was a hell of a show. Same can be said for the following week, the 17th, in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, where we saw another amazing moment. Maxine Dupree make history, defeating Becky Lynch to become the Women's Intercontinental Champion. What a highlight that was. Thanks to AJ Lee. That led to the War Games match at the Survivor Series, where the babyface team won on the women's side. What a team that was. And the Vision team winning on the men's side. And then earlier this month, we had NXT Deadline, where we crowned 2 Iron Survivor winners. in the form of Kendall Gray for the women's side and Javon Evans on the men's side. But Javon Evans couldn't wait till New Year's Eve. He wanted his title shot on that first NXT after deadline, and his dream came up. His dream turned into a nightmare because of Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints costing him the match and opening the door for Oba to retain the title. Oba regaining the title from Ricky Saints also at deadline as well. Kendall Gray next Tuesday night will have a chance to make history and become the NXT Women's Champion, on top of being the Evolve Women's Champion as well. That's a name we're going to keep an eye on in 2026 for sure. And then it was the end of an era. Also at Survivor Series, John Cena losing the Intercontinental Championship back to Dominic Mysterio thanks to the Judgment Day, mainly a returning Liv Morgan. And then from there, we also had the end of the official end of the era. Saturday night's main event, John Cena, his final match, going up against Gunther. Gunther earned the right to go against him because of winning the Last Time Is Now tournament. Gunther tapping out John Cena. Fans in uproar. Gunther now cementing himself as maybe the number one heel in WWE, although you can make an argument Drew McIntyre might be right behind him. Gunther on Raw, McIntyre on SmackDown. And then to end the year, we saw Carmelo Hayes win the U.S. Championship from Ilya Dragunov this past Friday night on SmackDown. Special moment for him. He's going to be one to watch for in 26, as is Ilya Dragunov. And we also saw that Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are going to have a match that hasn't been seen on the main roster since Payback 2013, when it was John Cena and Ryback who did it. 3 stages of hell on January 9th. And we have a big-time Monday Night Raw coming up tomorrow night in Orlando with the Usos and challenging AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the World Tag Team Championship. Stephanie Vaquer defending the Women's World Championship in a triple threat against Raquel Rodriguez and Nikki Bella. And a whole lot more excitement going down tomorrow night in Orlando. We'll review that on Tuesday as part of Ridiculously Raw. And the world of professional wrestling has a very bright outlook for 2026. A lot of exciting things to look forward to. We got some PLE quality shows coming up on Raw and SmackDown over the next couple of weeks, and we can't wait to see how it all plays out. So we don't have too much more time to get. I know there's a whole lot of things I probably missed and a lot of other things that need to be addressed, but we don't have that kind of time. So I hope I did that justice. So not much more to say. Phenom Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your quick thoughts on your standout moments in the world of professional wrestling in 2025 before we get into our year-end awards.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, in WWE, obviously, of course, starting with the first Raw on Netflix, I mean, like after all these years of Monday Night Raw being on the USA Network, now being streamed on Netflix, of course, that first show, of course, with Roman Reigns once again being the tribal chief and getting his Ulafala back by beating Solo Sikoa in tribal combat. You had Rhea Ripley winning back the women's world title from Liv Morgan, and of course celebrating with my guy, The Undertaker, and of course Jey Uso coming out with Travis Jey Uso coming out and yeeting, of course, seeing Pat McAfee doing it, along with Michael Cole as well. And of course, CM Punk and Seth Rollins was the main event of that night. And then, of course, like you said, the Royal Rumble, of course, Charlotte Flair winning it on the men's side. I mean, the women's side, I should say. And on the men's side, the shocker was Jey Uso, because it came down to him and John Cena, and it was Jey Uso who pulled off the shocker. And we saw some some surprise. I mean, we did see some surprise entrants, but the one surprise entrant was the TNA World Champion at the time, Joe Hendry, and that crowd at Lucas Oil Stadium literally went nuts
And
when
of
that
course,
happened.
let's also not forget when he was the surprise opponent for Randy Orton because of Kevin Owens' injury.
Yeah, because well, I was going to get to that before. I mean, when I talk about WrestleMania, and and then of course on the women's side, of course, we saw the return of Alexa Bliss because she was gone for a long time. I mean, I think we didn't see her at all in 2024. Am I correct on that, Florio?
Yeah, you are correct on that. She had a baby and she was gone for an awfully long time. It was doubtful that she was ever going to come back, but then she made a surprise return at the Royal Rumble and then went on to have that ridiculously over partnership with Charlotte, which is still going well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, and then of course, Elimination Chamber, and of course, Jade Cargill returning and beating up on Naomi, which, of course, Naomi turned out to be the one that attacked Jade Cargill, leading up to, of course, that Survivor Series, and but the one everybody was talking about when John Cena turned heel, and him, The Rock, and Travis Scott basically beat the holy hell out of Cody Rhodes, and then don't forget, I mean, when Raw was in Brussels, it was John Cena's first promo as a heel, and oh my gosh, Florio, that I remember when we were watching that crowd was. I mean, it was just. I mean, they were booing him so much, and I don't know about you, Florio, but I think that was the loudest John Cena sucks chant we ever heard in a long time.
He said that he had been in an abusive relationship for 25 years. Damn.
It was like,
Cut deep.
yeah, we were like, damn, John, tell us how you really feel. I mean, I mean, and then of course it all led to WrestleMania, and of course, starting off, of course, with Jey Uso beating Gunther and becoming the world heavyweight champion, and of course, the main event, of course, with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins winning, and Paul Heyman turning on Roman and CM Punk, and of course, John Cena solidifying his heel turn and winning his record-breaking 17th world title, and then of course, him and Randy Orton would face off one more time at Backlash, and and then of course, yeah, a lot of things went. Of course, Cena and CM Punk went at it one more time at Night of Champions, and yeah, and of course, but before that, I'll never forget when CM Punk came out as the what Cena once was as the Doctor of Thugonomics and did a rap on him, and yeah, and then of course, a lot of things went down in the summer. Of course, like you said, the first 2 night SummerSlam, and then yeah, that was a night to remember. I mean, especially, and like you said, 2 nights before, John Cena officially went back to being a babyface, and some people said that that Cena's heel run was a flop, and I got to be honest with you, Florio, I'm not going to blame John Cena or WWE for it. It was just the fans who. It was the
The
fans
fans
who
just loved him too much, and
they just
and,
loved
and
him
that's
too
why the
much.
heel turn didn't work. I mean, I
Yeah,
get they were going for a big moment, but and it was a
yeah.
big moment. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely in our
Oh
moment
yeah,
of
it's a
the
big
year
moment. That's
consideration.
why it's one of the big moments of 2025. But the fans just they just they just couldn't buy the fact that that Cena was a heel and that he was still their hero, and that's when WWE had to pivot and turn him back as a babyface, and and then him and Cody Rhodes going at it at SummerSlam for the title in a street fight, and that match, Florio, was far and away better than the match they had at WrestleMania. I mean, their match at WrestleMania was, I'll say it was solid, but not overly spectacular. SummerSlam, a totally different story. I mean, it was a 5-star classic, chock full of the absolute finest Shakespearean drama out there, and of course the return of Brock Lesnar. I mean, some people wonder, okay, why would WWE do this after the whole thing with Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant? I was like, as soon as I heard that Brock was his name was on there, I'm like, he's never coming back to WWE. But boy, howdy, we were wrong, Florio. And then of course you get into September, and then of course that SmackDown in Chicago, of course Cena's final appearance on that show, and it was him and Sami Zayn for the U.S. title. And then, of course, the match was made official for WrestlePalooza with Cena and Lesnar one more time. But, of course, the one thing everybody was looking forward to, Florio, in Chicago was when CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch were in the same thing. And then all of a sudden, CM Punk said, I got someone who will back me up. And we were all thinking, it's got to be AJ Lee. It's got to be AJ Lee. Anybody other than that would have been a major disappointment. And as soon as her music came on, all that crowd at the Allstate Arena, Florio, it was. I thought the roof was going to come off when her music hit, and when she came out, oh my goodness, that crowd was just unbelievable. And I got to be honest with you, Florio, we even talked about this. I mean, she may be in her late 30s, but she looks real good for her age. I mean, and of course it set up for the most anticipated mixed tag team match of all time at WrestlePalooza when it was her and CM Punk going up against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, and CM Punk and AJ Lee won that match. And of course, Cena got the holy hell beat out of him by Lesnar again, and I'm surprised you didn't even mention about this, Florio, about that another thing that went down at WrestlePalooza.
Oh, that's right.
The
Yes, WrestlePalooza.
I'm gonna talk
You
about it
mention it.
anyway.
You mention it.
Well, first off, the Undertaker came out,
Oh, The Undertaker, when he made that surprise appearance to
and
announce
then
that Stephanie McMahon is
yep.
going to be the first inductee into the 2026 Hall of Fame class. Very well deserved.
Oh yeah, a much deserved honor for her.
You
I
have no
mean,
idea how emotional I got when I saw that
oh yeah,
announcement.
and I know there was some people out there saying, Stephanie, really? But here's the thing. She did so much, not just for this company, but also in the community, especially with something that holds near and dear to me, Special Olympics. And
And of course, turning the women's division from the Diva division to the Women's Evolution.
yeah, exactly. And don't forget, we were there for a part of that, Florio, when she made that announcement of the first
The
ever
first ever Women's Royal Rumble match.
Rumble. I
December
mean,
18th, 2017, Monday Night Raw. I will never forget that as long as I live. I'm going to
yeah,
take that with me.
we were there for that historic announcement, and she was the one that did it.
She made
And
the announcement, and the Women's Royal Rumble is still going strong today. And we're looking forward to seeing how that plays out next month in Saudi.
yeah, and the women's division, it's been far and away better when Stephanie McMahon basically said it's not the Divas division, it's the women's division, and and that's and they people credit Stephanie McMahon for making that possible, and it's a great honor for her, and I cannot wait for that night when she gets inducted. So yeah, and then of course Halloween Havoc, like you said, with what happened that night, and then of course of course, the Raws in Boston and in New York, those were memorable shows. And I'll be honest, Florio, I think the one in Boston was, I think it had more energy than, I think it was the better of the two shows. I mean, that's not to say the one at Madison Square Garden sucked, but the one at TD Garden I thought was far and away better. And because of John Cena winning the one title that has eluded him, the Intercontinental Championship, winning it for the first time in his career of his hometown of Boston. And yeah, I mean, it was just such a great moment. And I know there were some people, and you even said, Florio, that you thought that should have been the main event, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
I made a point that you agree with me on, because they wanted to start off Monday Night Raw with a bang, and that's what they did. So should it have been the main event? I I I think so, but definitely they wanted to start it off with a bang, and that's what they did. And then, of course, the first ever Survivor Series held outdoors. I mean, in at Petco Park, you had the War Games matches, and of course, Cena losing the Intercontinental Championship thanks to a returning Liv Morgan, and yeah, and all those things. I mean, and like you said, when it comes to TNA, of course, like you said, Mike Santana finally winning that title. I mean, after when he should have won it in his home state of New York. I mean, that to me was the big mistake that TNA did, when you had the opportunity right in front of you, in front of his home state, and you dropped it. But
Because it's because they wanted to save it for the bigger show, Bound for Glory.
yeah, but in all honesty, it should have happened at Slammiversary.
It definitely should have.
Yeah, I mean, home state, it should have happened for him. That was the only flop from TNA, and of course that partnership with NXT and TNA, and like we just mentioned, Joe Hendry making history as the first TNA wrestler to compete at WrestleMania, and, as he was Randy Orton's mystery opponent. Because, like you said, Kevin Owens unfortunately having neck issues, and had to pull out of it. So, and of course, the end of an era when it comes to Cena's final match against Gunther. Cena tapped out, but it wasn't the typical tapping out that you would see in a match, Florio, because I mean, you and I saw it when Cena just smiled and he just tapped. So it's not like he was tapping out in pain. It was the ultimate passing of the torch, and oh boy, Gunther, he got a lot of heat from the fans, and so much so that they shouted "F you, Gunther," and they were even throwing debris at him as he was trying to get to his bus, and so much so that security had to intervene, and 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 as they were paying tribute to John Cena, they were booing Triple H when he came out, and and both of us made it perfectly clear, Florio, that this was not Triple H's call. This was John Cena's call as a way of passing it to the ring general. So yeah, so that's just how I feel. So yeah, 2025 was a really good year for professional wrestling. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. Let's move on, Florio.
Year-end awards, and we're going to start it off with our breakout star of the year. This is an easy one here. It's Javon Evans. I mean, Javon Evans, with all these banger matches he had, his athleticism, for someone who's only 21 years young is absolutely off the page. And mark my words, he's going to be NXT champion when we get to 2026. I believe sometime in 2026, Javon Evans will be the NXT champion. I don't know when, but I believe sometime he will be. And you also could have made an argument for Leon Slater. You also could have made an argument for Kendall Gray, with how quickly she came on at the end of the year. But there's just something about Javon Evans that screamed breakout star of the year for me. So my breakout star of the year, your boy is bouncy. It is Javon Evans. So Michael Bullock, do you agree with that, or do you have somebody else in mind?
Oh, it's got to be Javon Evans. I mean, what a year this guy's had. I mean, not only with what he's done in NXT, but he's made some appearances on the main roster as well. I mean,
and TNA.
So, yeah, the sky's the limit for this young man, and I think 2026 is definitely going to be an even bigger year for the young man. So Javon Evans is definitely the breakout star of the year.
All right. So Bullock, what do you have as your moment of the year?
John Cena turning heel at Elimination Chamber. That to me was the moment of the year. I mean, because this was his retirement tour, and we were thinking, oh yeah, that he's going to go throughout the whole year as the babyface, and then they came to Elimination Chamber, and after the match itself, we were all thinking they were having a moment. And then, of course, you saw that look, and then Cena shocked the world when he low blowed him and attacked him. So I don't think anybody saw that coming. So that to me was my moment of the year. What says you?
Well, there's a lot of moments in 2025 that you can make an argument for moment of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe Henry winning the TNA Heavyweight Championship at Genesis in January. Of course, the Cena heel turn, definitely. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. AJ Lee returning. Brock Lesnar returning. Oh, gosh. Paul Heyman turning on Roman and Punk. I mean, amazing. Man, what a game. But anyways, but yeah, I mean AJ Lee returning, John Cena winning the Intercontinental Championship in his hometown of Boston. I mean, you can make an argument for that, but at the end of the day, like it or not, it has to be seen as heel turn. I mean, this was something none of us saw coming. Well, only one person actually did see it coming, and that was good old MF Michael Fletcher. We did a show just before the Elimination Chamber, and he teased the possibility of Cena turning heel. And sure enough, he did. So I give MF all the credit in the world for that one. He saw that thing coming. I didn't. Bullock didn't. A lot of the fans around the world didn't either. Just unbelievable what happened there. Yes, the heel turn sold like I know the heel run, sold like a lead balloon, but at the end of the day, seeing a sight we never thought we would see, John Cena turning heel, how can you ignore that? So Bullock, you are absolutely spot on this one. John Cena's heel turn is definitely the moment of 2025. Tag team of the year, I got a good feeling about this one. It's the Hardys. I got to go with Matt and Jeff Hardy. I mean, what a year they had. As the old saying goes, who says you can't teach old dogs new tricks? And they may be getting old, but these men are still performing at a very high level. And I got to give these guys the credit. Matt Hardy is 51 years old, and Jeff is 48 years old. and they're still running around like they were friggin' 25 or 30 or something like that when they were in their prime. Holding the TNA World Tag Team Championship for a great majority of the year. Also winning the NXT Tag Team Championship when they defeated Dark State as part of that TNA NXT Showdown special in November. I mean, very exciting stuff. And we almost had a chance to meet him, but unfortunately, due to time constraints and a very long line, we didn't get the chance to meet him. But oh my goodness, what a moment that would have been. If we had gotten to meet them, that would have been our moment of the year for sure. But a special, but what a great year for the Hardys. A great run as the TNA Tag Team Champions, which they still are to this day. Had some banger matches. We got to see them and the Dudleys one last time at Bound for Glory. What an emotional match that turned out to be between two of the greatest teams of all time. And man, what a great year for them. I mean, you can make an argument for FTR in AEW. They had a good year too. Some other teams might be worthy of that recognition, but I believe there's one team that's worthy of that recognition. My 2025 Tag Team of the Year, Matt and Jeff, the Hardys. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Tag Team of the Year.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be the Hardys. I mean, they may be getting up there in age, but they continue to amaze us with the things they do in the ring. And we were there for one of those things, Floria, when we went to those Impact tapings at URI. And
yes.
And
they were the second most over, only behind Joe Hendry.
Yeah, and I remember sitting there. I'm like, they're still performing like they were in their 20s, and for them to continue this run, and especially now as the tag team champions in TNA, I think it's hard to ignore that. I mean, yes, FTR, you could say is definitely up there too, but how could you ignore the Hardy Boys? So it's definitely the Hardys for me.
Comeback of the year. I think we all know who the comeback of the year is. Or do we?
Yeah. I really don't know. I mean, you can make the
Cena?
argument for, huh?
What about Cena?
Yeah, you could definitely say Cena for comeback. You could also make the case for Charlotte Flair as well, because remember,
the devastating injury, yeah.
Because we were there.
Tribute to the Troops, 2023 SmackDown, your birthday.
We were there, and she missed all of 2024 because of that.
She did.
I mean, so
and went on to make history, becoming the first ever two-time winner of the Women's Royal Rumble.
And then of course later on to become a women's tag team champion
with Alexa.
So
you could also make an argument for Alexa too.
Yeah, Alexa as well, but I gotta go with Charlotte Flair, all because when she suffered that ACL injury, she missed all of 2024 and returned at the beginning of 2025 to become the first two-time winner of the Women's Royal Rumble and become the women's tag team champions with Alexa Bliss, and the most unlikely pairing, because at that time Charlotte was getting heat that nobody liked her and nobody wanted to be around her. But pairing her with Alexa has now made Charlotte even more likable. So I got to go with Charlotte Flair as my comeback of the year.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair. You could also make an argument for Alexa Bliss as well, after being gone almost just as long as Charlotte after having a child. I mean, it was doubtful that we were ever going to see her again because of her contract situation. But at the 11th hour, they got a deal done when she came out at the Royal Rumble, and how surprised we were to see her. But it does have to be Charlotte Flair. I mean, after everything that Charlotte went through, I mean, Bullock and I were there December the 8th of 2023, the Tribute to the Troops SmackDown at the AMP. She went up against Asuka, and She tore her ACL, and we didn't even see her at all in 2024. Not one moment. We didn't see her once in 2024. She made a return early in this year and became the first ever two-time winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match, and became one half of a tag team we didn't even know we needed with her and Alexa Bliss, and they're also in the running to become tag champions again, because we got a crowded tag team title picture. So there isn't much more to say on that. So yeah, Bullock, I can give that one to you. It's got to be Charlotte Flair when it comes to comeback of the year. Pay-per-view of the year. Pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it. A lot of good ones here. For me, I consider it a toss-up between the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber. I mean, both of those events I thought were the two best pay-per-views. You can also make an argument for I mean, there are some other events that are, worthy of consideration, but, the Elimination Chamber gave us the best moment of the year with the Cena heel turn. The chamber matches were both great. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens with that non-sanctioned match. But I don't know. I mean, very tough. But if I have to make the choice, I got to give a slight edge to the Elimination Chamber, because I thought the body of work of that event was just a smidgen better than the Rumble match, although the Rumble was also a very good show. But both chamber matches were great. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in that non-sanctioned match, and then what topped it all off, the heel turn of John Cena. I mean, that's why I got to give pay-per-view of the year to the Elimination Chamber. So that's my story. So Michael Bullock, pay-per-view of the year. I got the Elimination Chamber. Do you agree, or do you have a different event?
Oh yeah, I gotta go with the Elimination Chamber, and like you said, because both chamber matches were good. I mean, really good. I mean that unsanctioned match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, that was freaking insane. And like you said, what solidified it was that heel turn of John Cena. So Elimination Chamber is the pay-per-view or premium live event of the year.
All right. This next one, I believe, might be our toughest of them all. What's the match of the year for 2025?
Oh my gosh, that is so tough. I mean, you could. I mean, there are so many good matches. I mean, so many good matches that are right up there with match of the year. I mean, you could go with Cena and Cody Rhodes from SummerSlam with that street fight. I mean, oh man. You know what? I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Cena and Cody Rhodes from SummerSlam.
Good choice.
I mean, because the thing is, I mean, that match, the match they had at WrestleMania was solid, but not overly spectacular because of the whole Travis Scott interfering. But no Travis Scott. Cena back to being a babyface. We saw absolute Shakespearean drama in this. And it was a match that could have gone either way, and it went with Cody Rhodes, and they gave us a match that we all can remember. So it's tough, but I got to give the slight edge to Cody Rhodes and John Cena from SummerSlam Night 2.
Very, very convincing argument on that.
But again, there's so many good choices. It's tough. It's tough.
The TLC match from SmackDown in April. The TLC match from SummerSlam. Cena and Cody from SummerSlam. Cena and AJ from Crown Jewel. Javon Evans and Leon Slater from Bound for Glory. But unfortunately, Dark State ruined that. Cena and Gunther from Saturday Night's Main Event. You can make an argument for that. The Triple Threat from WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. The Women's World Championship from WrestleMania as well. The Triple Threat with Bianca, Io, and Rhea. I mean, you can make an argument for that. There's just so many that you could make the call for. But I think this could be the only time we might disagree tonight because yes, Cena and Cody was great, and nobody was more happier with that outcome than I was because I was happy to see Cody get the title back. For me, my match of the year, I gotta go. It's a toss up between that triple threat from WrestleMania with Roman, Punk, and Seth, and you also got Cena and AJ from Australia and Crown Jewel. I'm actually gonna go with John Cena and AJ Styles from Crown Jewel. That match had everything. A beautiful speech for AJ Styles that Cena wrote. The crowd is what made that match. And that crazy Australian crowd. And then all the near falls and everything else. So that's why I have to go for my match of the year. I have to go with John Cena and AJ Styles from Crown Jewel in Australia.
Funny thing, Flora, I was leaning towards that myself.
Ah, okay.
I mean, it was just something about that title match at SummerSlam that just made me feel like it was just a smidget better.
Totally understandable. There's no doubt about this next one. Female Wrestler of the Year. There's no doubt about this one. It's La Primera. It's Stephanie Vaquer. She came on like a whirlwind. I mean, winning the Women's North American Championship at New Year's Evil, unifying that with the NXT Women's Championship at Roadblock at the theater in Madison Square Garden, defeating Julia. Yes, she did lose it to JC Jane, but then she went to the main roster and she picked up right where she left off from NXT. Yes, there was a long stretch where she wasn't on television. I get it, but she then went on to win the Women's World Championship, defeating Io Sky at WrestlePalooza. And then what put it over the top was when she defeated Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel. And she does have one more match left to go this year when she defends the Women's World Championship tomorrow night on Raw against Nikki Bella and Raquel Rodriguez. And even if she loses that, you can't ignore the year that Stephanie Vaquer had in WWE. But then again, there are some other worthy female wrestlers out there. Tiffany Stratton, a worthy candidate. Naomi, a worthy candidate. Io Sky, a worthy candidate, for sure. But there was just something about Stephanie Vaquer this year that you can't ignore. I mean, she just absolutely dominated from start to finish. She only had that one hiccup, which was JC Jane, when she lost the title to JC Jane on May 27th on NXT. But other than that, La Primera was, in my opinion, the most dominant female wrestler in 2025. So female wrestler of the year 2025, La Primera, the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. Michael Bullock, I know we're in agreement on this one.
Oh, no doubt about it. Stephanie Vaquer is the female wrestler of the year. I mean, with the year she had, of course, starting off in NXT, and don't forget, Florio, that surprise appearance she had on the Raw after WrestleMania
against Dio, and what a match
it was
that
against
was.
Dio. Yeah, and then of course going to Monday Night Raw, and of course winning the vacant Women's World Title against Dio at WrestlePalooza, and so yeah, this was definitely the year for La Primera. So Stephanie Vaquer is the female wrestler of the year.
One last order of business, Michael Bullock. Male wrestler of the year. Who is it?
Okay, the male wrestler of the year. Oh my goodness, there's so many worthy names there, but I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. I mean, you could make the case for Joe Henry or for Mike Santana, all those names, but Cody Rhodes is my male wrestler of the year.
There's no question Cody had a great year. He started the year as champion. He lost the title to John Cena at WrestleMania. He got the title back from Cena at SummerSlam. He's held it since. And you could make an argument for him. You could also make an argument for Jey Uso. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. and then becoming the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, defeating Gunther. You could also make an argument for Gunther because he retired both Bill Goldberg and John Cena in the same calendar year. So you can make an argument for Gunther. I mean, Mike Santana, who was voted the TNA Wrestler of the Year as part of their Christmas show the other night. They did their year-end awards, and Mike Santana was the men's Wrestler of the Year, and no surprise on that. Joe Hendry, you can make an argument for him as well. But I mean, as great as Cody Rhodes is, and as much as I love Cody Rhodes, and I do, I believe there's one man who I felt was the male wrestler of the year. I got to go with Obafemi. I mean, Obafemi winning the NXT championship at New Year's Eve, holding it all the way until I believe it was No Mercy, and then getting the title back, defeating Ricky Saints, and closing the year on a strong note. The only hiccup he had was Ricky Saints, but other than that, he held that NXT championship for a great majority of the year, was very dominant in his matches, and he got pushed to the brink many of times, but he still found a way to win. I have to go with the results. So for me, my male superstar, my male wrestler of the year in 2025, it's the Rula, Obafemi. Although Cody Rhodes is definitely worthy of the honor as well. So with that, that'll do it. That'll put a bow on this 2025 year in review edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you again tomorrow night following Monday Night Raw. Myself and Bullock will be here. We'll hopefully have MF back with us, as it'll be our 2025 TXN Sports World year in review special, where we're going to look at the last 12 months in the world of sports in 2025. And that's it. And then Tuesday night, 10:30, it will be Ridiculously Raw, as we will have Monday Night Raw, the final Monday Night Raw of 2025, the final NXT of 2025. And on top of that, we're also going to preview the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. And then we're taking Wednesday and Thursday off for New Year's Eve and for New Year's Day. And then we'll be back on Friday night for the Week 18 edition, the regular season finale of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. And then Saturday we'll have the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. TNA Impact will be back, as well as SmackDown, the final SmackDown of 2020. Or actually, it'll be the first SmackDown of 2026, the first 3-hour show in Buffalo. So there isn't much more to add on. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our 2025 TXN Sports World Year in Review special, this is Anthony Florio here for the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and its spirit, good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and the First Lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the one and only Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Monday. Until tomorrow night, you have been watching our Talking Wrestling TXN 2025 Year in Review special right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.